Hello everyone. Welcome you all in this online edu classes for class 8 social science. Here I am Meenakshi Pandey with the video for chapter 10 India after independence. The learning outcome of this video. You will be able to understand the series of challenges that were faced by the new and divided nation India, and then you will also understand that what Indian Constitution is and the work of the Constituent Assembly. This is the first part of the video. Let us now begin with the lesson. Problems that the newly independent nation of India faced. The problems of refugees for their rehabilitation, followed by integration of princely states into united India, and then economic and social disparity were also to be addressed by the Indian government. Let us have a brief understanding of it. A new and divided nation. As you all know it very well, that the problems of refugees were the major issue in front of the government of India. Nearly 8 million refugees had come to India from Pakistan. They needed homes to live in and jobs for their survival. All of a sudden, the population in India bulged. The integration of princely states was to be taken up at the very first hand. Almost 500 princely states were ruled by Maharajas or Nawabs during the independence. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel played a very important role in accession of these states. Integration of Indian states were major issues in front of the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister of our country. Accession of some princely states were more difficult than rest, like Jodhpur. The Maharaja of Jodhpur was not ready to accede to India. In the similar manner, the Nizam of Hyderabad, the Nawab of Bhopal, and the King of Jammu and Kashmir were also not agreed to accede to India. But after certain efforts taken up by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel ji, these places merged with India, or they were ready to accede to India. Now, let us know about some more issues like adopting a new political system. As India was a new nation, it had to adopt a political system that would best serve the hopes and expectations of its population. After independence, there was a great demand of adopting such a political system which would pacify the need of India's huge population that accommodates a great diversity in it. Unity and development had to go hand in hand. To the problem of unity was added the problem of development. We know that major of the India's population lives in the village. The farmers and peasants depend on the monsoon for their survival. So did the non-farm sector of the rural economy. For if the crops fail, barber, carpenters, weavers, and other service groups would not get paid for their services either. The new nation had to lift its masses out of poverty by increasing the productivity of agriculture and by promoting new job-creating industries. The divisions between different sections of India were not healed, like the conflicts between Hindus and Muslims, high castes and low castes, etc. At the same time, if the support of economic growth did not reach the broad masses, it could create a fresh divisions like rich and poor and the cities and countryside. Now, let us have a brief understanding about the constitution that was been written. Between December 1946 and November 1949, some 300 Indians had a series of meetings. These Indians were from different political parties and different parts of our country. These people were there to design a political future for the independent country India. Finally, under the supervision of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar ji, the chairman of the drafting committee, the Indian Constitution was framed and came into effect on 26th January 1950. Let us now know some of the features of our Indian Constitution. The very first feature of our Constitution: adoption of universal adult franchise. All Indians above the age of 21 would be allowed to vote in state and national elections. This was a revolutionary step, for never before had Indians been allowed to choose their own leaders. This age had changed to 18 years in the year 1988 after few amendments. This means that one person, one vote facility was been provided to each and every individual in our country. The second provision was equality before law. When we talk about equality before law, it guarantees equality to all the citizens regardless of their caste or religious affiliation. There were some Indians who wished that the political system of the new nation be based on Hindu idols and that India itself be run as a Hindu state. But leaving all these things, it was been decided that India would not become a Hindu Pakistan, and finally the equality before law was been passed. The third feature of the Constitution was that it offered special privilege for the poorest and most disadvantaged Indian. The practice of untouchability, described as a slur and a blot on the fair name of India, was abolished. Let us know some of the advantages of abolishing untouchability. Hindu temples, previously open to only the higher castes, were thrown open to all, including the formal untouchables. After a long debate, the Constituent Assembly also recommended that a certain percentage of seats in legislatures as well as jobs in government be reserved for members of the lowest caste. This was been passed after certain arguments that were being taken up by the Constituent Assembly. Certain debates over the powers of central government and the state government was also been taken up by the Constituent Assembly. They spent many days discussing the powers of the central government and the state government. Some members thought that the center's interest should be foremost. Only a strong center, it was argued, would be in position to think and plan for the well-being of the country as a whole. Other members felt that the provinces should have greater autonomy and freedom. The Constitution sought to balance the competing claims by providing 3 lists of subjects. They were Union List, State List, and the Concurrent List. It was the sole responsibility of the Union List to look after these taxes, defense, and the foreign affairs. Under the State List, exclusively the education and health was been kept. It was the sole responsibility of the state government to look after the education and health of the people residing in that state. And under the Concurrent List, forest and agriculture. For this, the center and state would have joint responsibility. Another major debate in the Constituent Assembly concerned language. Many members believed that the English language should leave India with the British ruler. It should be replaced by our Hindi language. Several arguments were registered by non-Hindi speaking people. In wake of such issues, T.T. Krishnamachari conveyed a warning on behalf of people of South. Some of them even threatened to separate from India if Hindi was imposed on them. Finally, it was compromised by declaring Hindi as an official language of India and English would be used in courts, the services, and communications between states and another. With this, we come to an end of this video. We will meet again in the next session of our video. Till then, take care and bye.